A spoon with a delicious dessert is brought to the mouth of the pink-haired main character of this manhwa. The mysterious dark-haired man looks at her and imagines strawberry cake. He remembers that she loves strawberries and that she reminds her of them. The action takes place in the castle of the Grand Duke of Akuran, who entered into a political marriage with Jayana. The Duke of Akurana, known as Theo, tenderly wraps his wife in a cloak as it gets cold in his demon-infested country. He warns her that if she needs anything, she should ring the bell. The girl screams after the departing hero, begging her not to leave her. Jayana tries to catch up with Theo. She stretches out her hands to him in supplication, but the iron chain is locked around her ankle, preventing her from moving. Jayana falls with a deafening scream onto the cold stone floor of the room. The Duke hears her moans. She asks him to let her go, promising never to run away. Her tyrant husband tells her that she is trapped here forever and will never leave. With these cruel words, he locks the door behind him and leaves. Unhappy Jayana continues to beg him for sympathy, remaining alone. Jayana was left in the dungeon for life. This was the bad ending of the visual novel, How to Love an Obsessive Protagonist. The main character, a teenage girl named Yun Hanamoto, has been playing it for several days now. She envies Jayana, the heroine of the novel, and she really likes this bad ending. She doesn't want to believe that the popular novel is ending. She wants the plot to continue. The girl's eyes suddenly light up, and she waits for the results of the interview. She believes that life is a fairy tale game. But reality is different from the story with the handsome Duke. She suffers failure. She is not accepted to the job of her dreams. Jun Hanamoto looks at the phone skeptically. This is not what she dreamed of. Yun believes that she shouldn't have made fun of the interviewers. Yun got tired of playing the game and decided to go buy some food. Her gaze stops on the poster of the game Theo and Jayana are from. This game is called How to Love an Obsessive Hero, and its main characters are spouses Jayana and Theo, the Duke of Akuran. Theo is a ruthless duke who rules over the demon-infested northern region, Tyronia. He is a cruel and cold ruler, but his heart was touched by the appearance of Jayana in his life. Even though the heroes have a political marriage, they are happy as newlyweds. But it's not that simple. There are more than 50 bad endings in the game. The player should avoid Theo's excessive obsession in order to get a happy ending. Jun Hanamoto loves this anime, a romance game for girls, very much, and dreams of the main character being obsessed with it. Passers-by don't understand Jun Hanamoto's passion for wanting to get into her favorite visual novel. Yun Hanamoto realizes that she is considered strange by those around her and decides to quickly go home. But suddenly, the main character hears someone's desperate meowing. Jun Hanamoto waves amicably at a cat on the other side of the road. Jun Hanamoto calls the cat to him to feed her. She thinks that she is hungry. The cat runs to Yun to eat, but suddenly a car rushes towards her. Yun quickly grabs the cat, but the car rushes towards them and is about to crush our heroine. A bright light blinds Yun's eyes, and the screeching of brakes is heard. Yun is finished. A bright light illuminates the room in which a pink-haired girl, a beauty, lies. The girl's hands are shaking. This is our Yun, who remembers how she was hit by a car and died. Yun looks around. She is at some mill. The cat is not nearby. The door suddenly swings open, and a maid appears on the threshold. They throw some pink dress at Yun. The maid is very rude. The maid scolds Yun, telling her that she should have gotten out of bed by now. Yun is perplexed. She does not understand from the maid's chatter what kind of count she made wait there. The maid tells her that she must be with the count any minute. The door slams shut and the heroine is left alone with her thoughts. Looking at the mice running past, she realizes that she is not fully awake yet. With slow and uncertain steps, she walks towards the mirror in the room. The girl looks in the mirror. She is perplexed by the fact that she was called a lady. Pink and thick hair, beautiful pink eyes framed by thick eyelashes, a beauty unfamiliar to her looks at Yun from the mirror. Yun suddenly realizes that she is now the main character in the novel How to Love an Obsessive Hero by Jayana Black. Jayana thought that being transported into a novel heroine was something that only happened to manga heroines. Jayana is thrilled that real life is over, and she is now in her favorite novel. The girl is glad that she doesn't have to earn a living. He can now enjoy life day and night with the handsome main character. I wish I had such a life. Jayana is happy. She will be able to make her dream come true with a handsome man. The girl remembers that she found herself in the game when she was saving the cat. She believes that saving a cat is the most original way of cutting. She considers herself lucky, which is true, since she ended up in the best computer game. The girl realizes that the game's plot is just beginning, and she is in the Black Estate. The girl thinks it's time to pack her bags and leave here. But suddenly, she realizes that she has no clothes. But suddenly, she realizes that she has no clothes. She recalls that the lack of clothing is due to Jayana's background. Jayana Black is the illegitimate daughter of Erd Black, a noble lord. Since she is a bastard, everyone treats her rudely, even the servants. The poor thing has nowhere to go and spends all her time in the attic. The girl packs her suitcases and sincerely sympathizes with her predecessor. Then, she gathers courage and is ready for new adventures. Jayana goes to Theo, and along the way, thinks that this castle is damn beautiful. Jayana is greeted by servants and luxuriously decorated chambers. She enters the chambers and asks if there is anyone alive here. A stern, dark-haired man shouts at her to get out. Jayana thinks that this is the father of the main character, and he is the villain. Jayana enters the chambers and apologizes for coming at the wrong time. Jayana curtsies and says goodbye to her parents. She's going to Theo's. The mother rudely shouts at her daughter. She criticizes her appearance. Jayana remembers that she doesn't have another dress. She put on what the maid rudely gave her, and she didn't have much choice. Duke Black screams at her for defying his wife and behaving like that. Erd Black takes aim at his daughter. He decides to raise her properly, but Jayana hints to him what will happen if she is seen with a battered face. Erd Black stops, furious that his daughter dares to contradict him. Jayana manages to put the evil Duke in his place, and he will not hit her again. Suddenly, servants enter the room, and they report that Count Altaya presented the girl's mother with a gift. The servants solemnly present the heroine's surprised mother with a gift. As it turned out, this is an elegant and beautiful fur coat. Akarin has good taste. The girl is surprised. She did not expect such a beautiful gift for her mother. If you believe the game, Jayana's mother will take away the girl's dress and send her in a poor dress to the Duke. However, the girl's mother made a grave miscalculation. Our heroine will not give up. Jayana decides that she will win the Duke's love at any cost. She abruptly snatches the dress from her mother's hands, and she is shocked by her antics. Jayana thanks her mother for her attention and tells her to call her countess. Jayana leaves home. Her parents are no longer happy with her. A carriage carrying the main character is heading through the forest. Jayana remembers that the world is called Erlin, and it is fantasy. Erlin is a world filled with magicians and mana, the raw material for magic. The northern part, Tyronia, is inhabited by magical creatures. But people hate Tyronia because of Duke Theo, who is the object of our heroine's affections. According to the plot, Jayana cried when she went to the Duke. But our heroine is a different story. Jayana imagines a life of luxury with a handsome hero. Suddenly, the carriage stops, and the heroine falls sharply in it. Jayana is outraged by the suddenness with which the carriage brakes. In front of Jayana, there is a gloomy Gothic castle, like in the movie Dracula with Gary Oldman. All her dreams with the Duke are shattered into pieces, and she is faced with the harsh reality. Jayana timidly asks if this is the right place. Maybe the coachman made a mistake. But the carriage had already rolled away, leaving her alone with the gloomy castle. Jayana can only watch as the carriage quickly leaves her. Jayana is very upset and wants to go home. A gloomy castle towers over her. There is no hint that a handsome Duke lives in it. However, Jayana is confident that she can win Theo over. Jayana ignores the gloom of the castle and moves forward. The tower of a gloomy castle rises above it, and Duke Theo lives in it. Theo is sitting in his office and writing something to the neighboring state. Theo's gaze turns from the gloomy castle to the courtyard. Theo walks to the window of his tower and looks down at the courtyard. The main character walks along the castle alley. She is determined to conquer it. Theo is surprised. He didn't expect to have an uninvited guest. Jayana walks through the castle and thinks she's in a horror movie. The castle simply attracts attention with its creepy appearance and attracts all fans of horror films. Suddenly, Jayana sees a bright light from behind, and she turns to look at it. A sign appears in front of her, just like in the election game. Jayana presses the button on the sign to continue. The door suddenly opens, and Jayana realizes that the game is still going on. Jayana finds herself in a cold and gloomy room. She understands that the game wasn't as scary as it is now. Jayana opens the door to a cold and gloomy room with spiders. She steps softly through the dark corridors and goes inside. There is dust and cobwebs all around. Jayana sneezes. Jayana is perplexed. There are bats hanging all around, spiders running around, and cobwebs hanging. Jayana is perplexed. Even though the Duke is an illegitimate child, he allows himself such a mess. Jayana notes that she and the Duke are similar, and therefore they will quickly become friends. The Emperor sent Theo to northern Tyronia as an exile, and his marriage to Jayana is political. The Emperor wants to use any means to stay on the throne. For the Emperor, Count Black is easy prey and can be easily betrayed at any moment. Jayana and Theo sacrifice their own interests for the sake of their families. Jayana wonders if anyone will come out to greet her. Jayana thinks she needs to go straight to the Count's domain. Jayana believes that if she had possessed someone else, she would not have had to play such cruel games. If Jayane's memory serves her right, the Duke is in the highest tower. We have fairy tales with princesses in a tower in reverse here. Jayana stands in front of the tall darkness of a tree. Behind it, the Duke is waiting for her. Jayana hears some creepy sounds and she is afraid of them. Suddenly, a panel with choices about the door appears in front of Jayana. She chooses the option to open the door instead of the other two options. Jayana hears some strange sounds, and she feels uneasy about them. Jayana doesn't understand. Before the buttons were pressed, but now they aren't pressed. Jayana realizes that no matter how much she presses the buttons, they don't work. She presses the option to ask someone, and her body moves on its own. The girl's hand involuntarily reaches for the door, behind which is the Duke. Jayana pushes the door open and falls flat on the floor like a rug. Jayana understands that she just needs to say the action, and it will happen on its own. The Duke asks her menacingly what she is doing in his gloomy castle. The Duke appears before Jayana in all his dark glory. A black cloak with fur, a mask on his face, like the Phantom of the Opera. Jayana is shocked. The real Theo is standing in front of her now. Jayana notes that Theo looks more mysterious with the mask on his face. Jayana makes a choice on the panel. The door itself opened, and I walked inside. The Duke grimly asks Jayana who she is. Jayana asks the Duke his name and says it is impolite to demand such a thing. Theo is silent for a minute, and then answers the heroine with grandeur. Teolis Akarana, Grand Duke of Northern Tyronia, is pleased to meet her. Jayana Black of the Earl Black family is delighted to become his wife. Jayana expresses her joy at becoming Theo's wife. Theo was struck as if by lightning. He did not expect his wife to show up. Jayana hands Theo the Emperor's engagement envelope. Theo carefully studies the letter that they were given permission to marry. Theo says it is impossible to forge a letter with the Emperor's seal. Jayana stands there and doesn't understand. Does the Duke really not trust her that much? The Duke tells her that he understands the situation, and the panel appears again, asking whether you accept this marriage. Jayana doesn't hesitate. She decides to accept the marriage without hesitation. Jayan is impatient and timidly approaches the Duke of Akaran. Jayana happily announces that she is ready for marriage, and Theo tells her that it is just a blank sheet of paper. Jayana realizes that all her plans are ruined and asks the Duke again about the leaf. Theo says the sheet is blank and doesn't say anything about marriage. Theo says the unmistakable leaflet implies their marriage, but Theo and Jayana are shocked that the Emperor did not write anything. Jayana is horrified that Theo called their marriage empty. Theo asks if Jayana is happy with the way they were notified of their marriage. Theo tells her that the marriage is not voluntary and she can leave at any time. Jayana is upset about what Theo told her, and her lip trembles. She tells Theo that she has no home to return to. Jayana is crying. She has terrible parents, and she has no one to turn to. Jayana cries and timidly asks the Duke to stay with him for at least one night. Theo coldly tells her that she has not heard rumors about him, that he is merciless to people and demons. Jayana firmly informs him that she does not believe the rumors. Jayana tells Theo that she believes he is a good man. Theo shyly tells her that he doesn't understand why she decided that. Theo tells her that she needs to prepare a room where she can sleep. Theo takes the girl's luggage, and they walk together through the dark corridors of the castle. Jayana asks where all the servants are because she is frightened by the huge amount of dust. Theo is silent and walks ahead. The girl is frightened, seeing his silhouette. Jayana realizes that her popularity rating with him is low. Theo's favor changes depending on the player's actions, and it is even possible to go on dates. Jayana thinks that since they just met, the rating is low. Suddenly, the girl crashes into her husband's broad back. Jayana says she bumped into Theo by accident, and Theo says they arrived. Jayana says she will now remain outside the door forever. Jayana says she is grateful for the kindness, and Theo leaves her. He is cold towards her. Jayana gets upset. He completely ignores her. Theo walks through the dark corridors, not caring at all about his wife. Suddenly, his steps stop, and he stops halfway. Theo looks back at the girl gloomily, and his gaze gets stuck on her. Jayana is sure that Theo is not such a cold person at heart. Theo is shocked. He didn't know that Jayana thought of him as a kind person. He cuts himself off abruptly and decides that he has had enough of thinking about useless things. Theo feels like he still can't trust Jayana Black. Jayana enters the room and is amazed by the beauty of the chambers. But in reality, what awaits her is a chamber that resembles a prison. Jayana notes that the quarters are even worse than she expected. Jayana throws off her dress, and the pink dress flies in the wind. Jayana is determined and decides to build the perfect life herself. Jayana opens the doors, and she decides that she should try to make life beautiful. Jayana, like Cinderella, cleans, mops, and dusts. Jayana throws things out of the balcony and cleans the room of dust and dirt. Jayana threw out all the trash, and now the room is cleaner than before. Jayana decided that she could now take care of the things in the wardrobe. But when she opens the closet, the entire castle is filled with her screams. Theo bursts into her chambers and asks her what happened. Jayana rushes to him in a panic and hugs him tightly, tightly. She cries and asks Theo for help, and he is embarrassed by her appearance. She points to a huge spider sitting in her closet. Theo doesn't understand what she doesn't like about the spider, and the girl screams that he's scary. Theo asks if her heartbreaking scream was really because of a small bug. Theo casts a spell, and a clot of magical energy appears in his hands. Theo creates a magic chain, and it rushes towards the spider. The spider disappears into Theo's flames, thinking about how he was banished from his home. Poor spider. Theo asks Jayana if everything is okay now, and she breathes a sigh of relief. Suddenly, she remembers that she saw this episode somewhere. She understands that it was this episode that marked the beginning of the relationship with Theo. Only in the novella she called the spider cute. She realizes that when Theo saw her attitude towards the spider, he fell in love with her. Jayana was upset. She missed her chance to be friends with Theo. Theo, looking like the Phantom of the Opera, looks gloomily at the heroine. Jayana is in a panic. If she continues to act like this, her life will end in death. Jayana opens her eyes with difficulty and sees blood on her hands. Theo appears before her eyes, smiling unkindly, and telling her that everything will be fine. Jayana dies in his arms with her stomach pierced. The last thing she hears is that they will always be together. She hears through the pain how Theo touches her hair and tells her that everything will be okay. Theo's eyes become demonic, and he, possessed, says that she is now his. Jayana wakes up in a cold sweat and doesn't know what to expect. Theo tells her that she was in a stupor and promises her that it won't happen again. Jayana justifies herself and says that everything is fine. She fears that her actions will lead to Jayana's death at Theo's hands. Jayana thinks she needs to focus on seducing Theo. Theo stands gloomily and looks at the main character. He does not understand her strange behavior and face. Then Theo decides that Jayana is cold and puts a fur coat on her. He informs her that the northern part of Tyronia is much colder than the Black Kingdom. He tells her to wear these clothes for now. He will find her others. Theo leaves, and Jayana is surprised that he is ignoring her and talking to her. Jayana thinks that the choice she made with the spider wasn't so bad. Jayana wraps her coat warmly around herself and is glad that things aren't that bad. Theo hands the girl the dress and says that he didn't find anything else. Jayana thinks that the clothes are very thick and they will protect her from the cold. Theo says he'll just stand here and not watch. Suddenly, Jayana calls out to Theo, and he slowly turns to face her. Jayana says the dress is very comfortable and beautiful and suits her very well. Theo looks at her dress in fascination and notes that she looks beautiful in it. He says he's glad she liked it and smiles sweetly at her. Jayana takes his hand and tries to see if she is imagining his smile. Theo informs her that he will send servants to clean up her mess. Jayana asks him again in surprise. Why not today? Theo turns away, and Jayana wonders what she did to upset him. Jayana figures out that the episode with the servants will be in the second half of the game. She looks at Theo and thinks that the game has gone faster than it should. Theo asks where the bed linens are, and Jayana calmly replies that she threw them out. Theo is shocked. Jayana calmly threw out the laundry without even asking him. Theo tells her that it was the only linen in the castle. Jayana is shocked by what Theo said, and there is an awkward pause. She is horrified. She hadn't thought about what Theo said. Jayana exclaims indignantly why there is only one underwear in the entire castle, and the Duke does not dare to answer her. Theo's eyes turn yellow and stare at Jayana. Theo sheepishly tells Jayana that she can sleep in his room. Jayana is glad that she will be able to spend the night in Theo's room. They walk down the hallway, and Jayana is happy with this outcome. Theo stops next to the gloomy room and opens the door. Jayana is happy that this is the room they will spend their wedding night in. Theo's room is dark and huge, and it resembles a luxury suite. Jayana thinks that Theo's room is no different from hers. Jayana looks again at the thing that appears in front of her. Jayana chooses to open the curtains, and Theo squints at the bright light she lets into the room. Jayana stands in front of a window with bright light streaming into the room. Theo looks at Jayana in surprise through the rays of the bright moon. Jayana stands against the backdrop of a full moon, and she, like the landscape, is beautiful. Theo watches Jayana in fascination and cannot contain his delight. Jayana asks him again in surprise, "What is it?" And Theo says nothing. Jayana grabs his arm sharply, not letting him leave. Jayana asks Theo not to leave. She wants to talk to him a little longer. Jayana lies on the bed and asks Theo if they should sleep together. Theo suddenly yells at her that the daughter of an aristocrat is not supposed to say such things. Jayana says they are married, and Theo, blushing, tells her he hasn't agreed yet. Jayana is delighted. She didn't notice Theo was so cutely embarrassed. Theo is really cute, which makes the novel lover delighted. Suddenly, Jayana realizes that her stomach is growling and she is hungry. Theo leans over the box and apologizes. He forgot to feed her. Jayana wonders why they don't just go to the kitchen. Theo hands her some astronaut food and tells her it's nutritious. Jayana tries to turn it into a joke, but Theo is serious. Jayana is shocked. Is this food really dinner? Theo says yes. All of Jayana's dreams of a nice dinner for the rich are shattered. Jayana realizes she wants to go home to her pasta. In real life, the girl was always hungry, and she didn't have enough food. She ate only noodles. The author understands this very well. The poor girl had to save only on one noodle. Jayana imagined fried lobster, soup, and a delicious grilled kebab. Jayana is horrified that she has to live on just a nutrition bar. Jayana decides that there is always a way out and asks where the dining room is. Theo is shocked and tells her that the dining room is on the first floor. Jayana takes his hand and says that they will go there. Theo looks at her in surprise, but is forced to follow her. Jayana pulls Theo's hand and believes that there are some tasty snakes waiting for her. Arriving in the dining room, Jayana is horrified. There are no servants. A mouse has hanged itself. Everything is empty. She looks questioningly at Theo and asks if there is anything in this castle. Her answer is a spider that has crawled out and a curious mouse. Jayana starts fighting with them, and Theo is surprised by her reaction. He asks why she said "Our Father" and "go away," like in the movies about exorcism. The girl is in despair. Jayana is horrified that there is not even any bread in the warehouse. Looking at the curious mouse, Jayana asks Theo for the candy bars he gave her. Then, Jayana, accompanied by Theo, walks down a dark corridor. Theo notes to himself that it has become very quiet, and this worries him. He is sure that Jayana did not like the food he offered her. He says that if she is having a hard time, he will come back alone, but she says no. There is an open box in the room, and all the bottles are turned over. Jayana eats her fill of astronaut bars and thinks she's full. Theo asks her in surprise what she doesn't like, and she brushes him off. Jayana asks Theo if he eats these bars, thinking they are delicious. Theo gives her a dark look and says nothing in response. He decides to go and feed her some delicious food to make her happy. Jayana says it's already 1 o'clock in the morning. Where will he go hunting? Theo tells her that he would be happy to go monster hunting if she asks. Jayana commands him in a commanding tone to stay and sit there like a dog. She openly admits to Theo that she honestly doesn't like this situation. Theo tells her that he is genuinely worried about her. Against the backdrop of a dark and majestic castle, Jayana asks him if Theo really likes this life. Jayana offers him to live a nice and quiet life with her. Jayana asks Theo, in a sweet and gentle tone, to take care of himself. Theo blushes and is embarrassed by his wife's tender behavior. He gently pulls away from his wife, and Jayana wonders what's wrong. He suddenly bows and tells Jayana that he is sorry. He tells her that he assumed Jayana was different, given the rumors. Jayana is not surprised by anything. She is sure that her evil relatives had a hand in this. Jayana had no idea that when she played the game, reality was different from the game. Theo turned out to be considerate and caring, not ruthless. Jayana remembers that he cared about the heroine and that he was not a tyrant at all. She realizes that while she was trying to get her favorite bad ending, she didn't notice his qualities. But now she knows that he is a kind and sympathetic person. Jayana asks him to stop apologizing, and she will definitely work on it. Theo blushes and sheepishly tells her that he agrees with her. Then, there is an awkward pause, and Theo wants to say something to the heroine. He politely asks the girl what he can do to make her feel better. Jayana notes that he seems stern, but acts like a puppy. Jayana suddenly falls silent and looks into the distance. Jayana is struck by lightning and realizes that they are alone in the castle. She moves closer to him, her arms wrapping around his muscular chest. She gently touches his cheek with her small hand, and she asks the Duke to show her what is hidden under his mask. Theo is in a panic. Does Jayana really want to see his face? Jayana says yes, and the iron mask is slowly falling off his face. Theo lived in the slums since childhood and was always beaten. He was always told that he was a hindrance to business and that he was a monster. People always said that Theo was a monster and that he was very dirty. Theo walked through the gloomy streets, doubled over with pain in his stomach. He hasn't eaten for 3 days and he might die if he doesn't eat. Theo hears a voice telling him to eat slowly to avoid choking. Theo finds two poor people eating bread and almost dying from improper eating. The red-haired guy warns his interlocutor to eat less and then looks at Theo. He tells Theo not to go anywhere near them. They say that Theo scares them, especially his eyes. They leave Theo alone on a deserted and dirty street. We are shown houses, like in Prague, and rain flows down the roofs. Theo collapsed from hunger and lay on the rain-soaked street. He curls up in the dirt on the street and thinks about how hungry he is. Theo falls asleep thinking he is going to die. But suddenly he wakes up in bed. Theo stands up in bed and wonders why he has these dreams. He wonders why he continues to have such dreams. The servant gloomily informs him that the emperor wishes to see Prince Theo. Theo enters the throne room and asks the emperor why he wanted to see him. The emperor tells him that everyone feels uneasy about Theo, and that he feels uneasy about him too. He tells Theo not to look at him so rudely, and he quickly apologizes. The emperor tells him that monsters are on the rampage at the northern border, and he asks Theo if he will go there and stay there. Theo decides not to argue with the emperor and says yes. Theo withdraws into himself. Even his own family wants him dead. He is terrified. Perhaps his troubles are due to the terrible eyes he was born with. Even when Theo was removed from the palace, the emperor continued to keep an eye on him. That's why he arranged a political marriage to keep an eye on him. Theo knows that Jayana is the illegitimate daughter of the Earl of Black. He believes that the royal family sent her to kill him. That's why Theo first set himself a condition, not to trust her. But Jayana turned out not to be a killer. She was calmly cleaning in her underwear. She didn't believe the rumors that were being told about Theo. She even asked Theo to be more careful with her. Even though the day of their acquaintance has passed, her smile is sincere and not forced. She treated him so warmly, while others called him a monster. She even asked him to take off his mask to show his face. She asks in surprise if she has gone too far, and Theo tells her no. Theo is afraid of her reaction to his eyes, so he hesitates. He thinks she will treat him like everyone else. And Theo wants warmth from her and doesn't want her to be scared. Her sweet hands reach out to his face and squeeze it tightly, asking to show his face. She says that she is interested in her husband's face and that he will not scare her. Jayana smiles so genuinely and warmly that she reminds him of a sunflower. Theo takes off his mask, and in front of us appears a very beautiful and thin face with gray eyes and a long nose. Jayana is shocked. His face is much cooler than when she played the game. Jayana falls to her knees and thanks God for sending her into this world. She is very happy that he is not ugly, and Theo is shocked by her reaction. Jayana yells at him, saying that she is praying. She enthusiastically tells Theo that he really is very handsome. Theo is embarrassed. It is the first time he has been called such beautiful words. Jayana is embarrassed, and Theo is shocked that he was called handsome for the first time. Jayana is very shy because this is the first time she has told a guy that he is handsome. She quickly apologized for saying that, and Theo said it was nothing. He presses his hand to his muscular chest to listen to his heart. Theo notes that his heart is beating unrealistically fast. Theo is embarrassed, especially when the heroine touches his face. Jayana can't stop looking at him. She is captivated by Theo's beauty. Theo asks the heroine to stop. He feels very awkward with her being so close. Jayana pulled away from him sharply, and Theo did too, and they apologized to each other. Jayana asks Theo not to wear a mask when he gets ready. She stops his hand and asks why he wants to wear a mask. Theo confesses to her that he wears the mask because his eyes are cursed. Jayana tells him that his eyes are beautiful and there is no need to hide them. Theo asks her not to lie to him. He hates lies more than anything. Jayana realizes that Theo is crushing monsters with his eyes. Jayana thinks that everyone's eyes are out of place if they were pointing out that Theo needs to have his eyes fixed. The girl is once again faced with a system that requires her to immediately respond to Theo's eyes. Jayana thinks Theo is so handsome that she doesn't want to lie to him. She goes against the system and asks what idiot is talking nonsense about eyes. Theo doesn't know what to answer the girl. He is shocked by her answer. Jayana is glad she doesn't have to answer the choices the system offers. She repeats her answer again, and a hand covers her mouth. Theo shuts her up and asks her not to repeat her answer. Jayana doesn't understand why she can't be rude about people who are hurting Theo and who aren't here. She turns away from Theo, offended, and resembles a hamster. Theo suddenly laughs, surprised by her reaction. Jayana asks him again what she said that was so funny. Theo sweetly tells her that he really has fun and feels good with her. Jayana is confused by his reaction and looks at him in surprise. She understands that she needs to follow through on decisions, but also speak from the heart in order to win Theo over. She tells Theo that her name is not Yu, but Jayana. She tells Theo that he needs to remember his wife's name. Theo bows to her and says that he will definitely remember her. Jayana tells Theo that her name is Jayana, and Theo remembers it. Jayana tells him that he needs to tell the mask goodbye. She tells him that she is the only one in the castle who can see his face. Theo is clearly embarrassed by his wife's reaction to his disfigurement. He tells her that his name is Theolis, not you. He asks her to remember the name of the husband with whom she will spend the rest of her life. Jayana remembers the name and laughs happily. They got along well. She tells Theo that she's going to take a shower before bed. Theo is left alone, and he feels some relief after her words. He thinks Jayana is sweet even if she uses harsh words. But despite this, Theo thinks that Jayana is an interesting person. Suddenly, an interesting thought lights up Theo's face. He hears some unpleasant sounds coming from the bathroom, and he feels uneasy. Theo realizes that she said she needed to take a shower, and it was their first night as a married couple. Theo stands in the middle of the room, thunderstruck. It dawned on him that they were married. He walks around the room like a cornered animal, wondering what she thinks about him. Theo is in a panic. He thinks what Jayana thinks about him. Theo thinks that Jayana is a beautiful girl, and this embarrasses him. She has mesmerizing ruby-colored eyes and long silky hair. Theo feels an overwhelming desire to kiss her now. Theo is banging his head against the wall. He is in a panic. He doesn't know what to do. He believes that he must remain a gentleman, no matter how desirable she is. Suddenly, a wet figure of Jaina in a blue kimono appears behind him. She shyly and slowly takes off her blue robe, exposing her shoulder. She is seductive and wet in a blue kimono that is slipping off her. It is too big for her. Theo is all red with embarrassment, seeing Jayana half naked. Jayana sweetly informs him that this is their first night together. She invites him to forget about everything and enjoy each other's bodies. Jayana is too tempting in her blue robe. He can't resist. Theo suddenly grabs her arms and pushes her against the wall. Theo pushes her onto the bed, and they are so close to each other. Theo looks at her shyly, as if asking her permission, and then they lean towards each other and kiss. Their lips merge in a passionate kiss. They cannot tear themselves away from each other. But then their first night turns out to be Theo's romantic dreams. Jayana waves her hand in front of his eyes and asks if everything is okay. Theo jumps up and tells her that he's going to take a shower too. He slams the door shut in front of a surprised Jaina. She doesn't understand what happened and what she did wrong. Theo splashes cold water on his face and tries to concentrate. He dives into the crystal clear water, and we are shown his luxurious body with a mountain of muscles and abs. Theo is wrong to call himself ugly. He has a beautiful and muscular body. Theo enters the room. He thinks that his wife, the seductress, is sleeping. But the girl is not just sleeping on the bed, she is sprawled on it. Jaina dreams of a whole cake, but Theo is shocked because she is sprawled on the bed. Theo realizes that he has no choice and accepts his fate. He looks at her while she sleeps and thinks that she is a strange girl. He takes a strand of Jaina's hair and runs it through his palm. He thinks it's the first time he's had a paddle with her in a long time. Theo settles down on the rug next to her and thinks about the girl. A gloomy castle with high towers falls asleep. Jayana wakes up unexpectedly and believes she has overslept. But then she looks around the room in surprise and realizes she was wrong. She quickly remembers that she died and is now in the body of a computer heroine. She stretches out blissfully on the bed, realizing that she doesn't have to go to work. Suddenly, an idea came to Jayana, and now she can't sleep. Jayana imagines that the girl was an aristocrat and resembled an angel when she slept, and Theo kissed her forehead. The girl immediately compares herself to her and realizes that she is sleeping as if she had just come from the factory. She is scared. She feels like she kicked Theo in her sleep. The girl finds Theo on the floor and thinks she dropped him. She lifts Theo and wants to return his heavy body to the bed. Jayana realizes that Theo is heavy and very difficult to lift. She doesn't understand why he is so heavy while he sleeps peacefully. Suddenly, Jayana sees him waking up and wants to explain the situation to him. But Theo suddenly pounces on her and knocks her over. Theo resembles a real monster who wants to take the girl by force. It takes all of Jaina's courage to bring the boy to his senses. Theo comes to his senses and moves away from her, sitting on the floor. He notices in horror the fresh marks on her hands from his strong hands and tenacious nails. Theo quickly apologizes and tells the girl that he didn't do it on purpose. Jayana, looking at him, tries to remember the whole plot of the game. Theo is very attentive, even during sleep. This is explained by the past. We are told about Theo's past, that he grew up in the slums. When he was brought to the palace, he was on the verge of death. Theo quickly apologizes to the heroine and decides to prove to her that he is not a monster. Theo suddenly freezes and looks at the main character. He gathers his courage and asks her to imagine that nothing happened between them. A sign pops up in front of the girl asking if she wants a divorce. We are shown Theo's gloomy chambers, where the action takes place. Jayana doesn't know whether to agree to a divorce. She is surprised. They have known each other for only one day, and there is already a divorce sign. She falls on Theo and asks him to listen to her carefully. Theo tells her that a creature like him is unworthy of being her husband. Jayana tells Theo that she is to blame for this situation. She tells Theo that she trusts him completely and encourages him to calm down. Her hand touches Theo's hand, and she asks him to try for the sake of their marriage. Jayana leans on Theo and suggests that they work through their problems together and make things right. Theo is satisfied with her answer, and he smiles tenderly at her. He asks her if she will give him a chance to redeem himself. Jayana tells Theo that of course she will give him a chance, but when Jaina suggests leaving the castle, Theo becomes angry and gloomy. He asks her if she really wants to go to the city. She says that she needs to buy new clothes and food. Jayana also wants to do his hair. She thinks it is a sin to hide such a face with hair. Theo asks her if it is really necessary. The servants will arrive soon. Jayana goes into Shrek cat mode and asks Theo for a favor. Theo watches her attack with rabbit eyes for a long time. He gives in and tells her that he will find someone to accompany her, but she wants to go with Theo. In this game, dating is possible when the rating is above 30%, and it takes 10 days to make progress. Jayana tells him to choose some handsome guy for her, but Theo falls for her jealousy trick and sternly tells her no. Even though Theo is a kind character, it doesn't cancel out the feeling of affection. He menacingly asks the girl if she is dating another guy. Theo tells her that as a husband, he cannot allow her to wander around town with another man. Jayana tells him that she has no choice but to go herself. Theo can't take it anymore and volunteers to accompany Jaina, but he sets 2 conditions for the girl before they go to the city. Theo tells her that he will put on a mask and a cloak so that there will be no problems with the townspeople. He also informs her that they will immediately return to the castle, but she no longer listens to him. Jayana dresses in a golden dress that resembles a sunflower, and they walk through the city. She gets the chance to see the city from the game in real life. Jayana pulls him into the city. She is very hungry. She takes Theo to a restaurant and asks the waitress if there are any empty seats, but they are rudely shown the door and told that they are closed. Jayana is determined to enter, and she says they will enter. She abruptly declares that she will write about everything in the complaint book. However, it then dawns on her that everyone is looking at her. Passers-by, seeing them, whisper that it is strange that the Duke came out into the city. Passers-by sympathize with the girl that she was kidnapped by a monster, the Duke. Jayana is horrified. How dare they criticize her beloved? His strong hand rests on her fragile little arm. The Duke asks the girl to go with him and not listen to them. Jayana looks at him with pity and bewilderment. She agrees with him, realizing that it is very difficult for him. After that, they visited many places and walked through the back streets. But everywhere they were driven out, and they received reprimands from the residents. The girl realizes that she had never thought before about how poor Theo lived like that. Theo suddenly apologizes and says he shouldn't have gone with her. Theo offers her something to eat, and he will wait for her outside the city. The girl invites Theo to go with her to the store. If they refuse, they will go home. Theo is gloomy. She is silent for a very long time and does not look at the heroine. But then Theo agrees to the persuasion of the girl, who looks at him pleadingly. All that's left is the old diner. This is their last chance. A girl comes inside and asks a lady with her hair in a bun if there are any free seats. Suddenly, the lady looks at Theo and then quickly runs away. Jayana realizes that everyone hates Theo, and she decides to give up. Meanwhile, the lady runs out into the yard and runs up to the janitor. She tells the surprised janitor that the Grand Duke has arrived. The janitor and she enter the tavern and greet the Duke. Jayana hopefully asks them if they can eat here. They happily inform them that of course they can and invite them inside. Jayana tells her husband that they are good people and everything will be fine. Jayana asks Theo why he is silent and not talking to her. Theo pulls his hood down even more and is scared. They sit down and Jayana says that everything will be fine and there is no one here. Theo timidly wants to object to her, but the owner of the establishment returns with a tray. She places delicious pepperoni pizza, eggs and salad, donuts, apple pie in front of their noses. The hostess says that all this is nothing and cannot be compared to the kindness of the Duke, and Jayana is shocked by her words. The woman suddenly begins to remind the Duke of something. She tells him that one day her husband came across a monster, and the Duke saved him. The woman really wanted to thank him, but she didn't expect him to come here. She says she put her heart and soul into the food, let him enjoy it. Then the woman leaves, leaving the Duke and the girl alone. Theo was clearly embarrassed. He didn't expect to be treated well. Jayana tells Theo that everything is fine and he can eat in peace. Theo is afraid that rumors will spread throughout the city, that the store is cursed because of his presence. Theo asks the girl to eat quickly and leave. He considers himself a monster. But the girl ends this suffering for no reason. The girl notes that they could have lived happily ever after, but she was naive. Theo's heart has received many wounds that can no longer be healed. She believes that Theo is no longer just a character, but has his own feelings. She decides to comfort Theo and calms him down by joining their hands. She kindly tells Theo that she will always be there for him. Theo looks at her in shock, taken aback by her sweet words about him. Things that happen today happen suddenly. Prejudices will not disappear so quickly. The girl reaches out her hand, hoping to pull Theo out of the darkness. She is like an angel in Theo's dark world and wants to be with him always. She tells Theo that she will always be there and that he can rely on her. Theo has now completely fallen in love with the heroine in front of him. All he can do is nod silently as she chirps happily. The tavern owner and her husband are happy to see them, saying that they are a wonderful couple. The girl says that it was very tasty, and the owner asks them to come more often. The girl says that they need to return to the castle now, but Theo asks if her shopping isn't over. The girl says that this can be done another time. The woman tells them that her daughter runs a clothing store nearby and that she could take them there. Jayana is very happy about this, and she and the Duke decide to go there. They come to a store nearby and are greeted joyfully. The girl can't decide which ones are better. The woman is very kind and happily helps the girl try on the yellow dress. Jayana also chooses blue and green dresses, which she likes. She looks like a beauty in a red tight dress. The girl is happy. She was able to buy what she wanted. The Duke, carrying her purchases, is surprised that she is worried about money. Count Black is quite rich. Jayana tells the Duke that she was simply not given pocket money. She tells Theo that she liked the store where she bought a lot of new clothes and that she should go there more often. However, she liked it better at home because things got better. The girl flops down on the bed and says that she is very tired, and Theo wants to take a shower. Jayana decides to take a rest and falls asleep relaxed. She realizes that she has enjoyed the life she dreamed of. Jayana suddenly becomes restless and gets up from her bed. She looks questioningly at the door behind which Theo disappeared. She gets scared and thinks that the servants should come the next day. She throws pillows and sheets off the bed because she realizes that she is married. She wraps herself in a blanket and looks at the door in fear. She looks at the oak doors and wonders who is behind them, and it dawns on her that it is not Theo. Jayana looks at the door in panic. It's too early for Theo to come back. She asks in horror who is there, wrapped tighter in a cloak. There is no answer. There is silence all around. Jaina becomes scared. Jayana opens the door and immediately starts screaming throughout the room. She suddenly realizes that this scene was not in the game. The girl is scared. She thinks that there are ghosts in the castle. A stranger in glasses appears on the threshold who is interested in her affairs. The main character panics and closes the door and grabs the blanket from the bed. She panics and knocks on the bathroom door, calling Theo's name. Theo bursts into the room and asks her what happened. Jayana pounces on Theo and screams at him that there is a ghost behind the door. Jayana falls into Theo's arms, noting the beauty of his body. She tells Theo that everything is okay now, continuing to feel him up. A long-haired stranger with glasses appears from behind and asks in a sepulchral voice if everything is okay with her. Jayana hides behind Theo's broad back and asks how the ghost knows her name. Theo tells Jayana not to be afraid. It's the butler. Before us is a middle-aged man with long hair and glasses. This is the butler Homer, who believed that the main character was a ghost. He quickly leaves the newlyweds, saying that he came at the wrong time. Theo protests. Homer finally says that he should have been taught the intricacies of the matter earlier. But Theo doesn't need it. He is perplexed. When Homer leaves, Jayana is very upset. The original protagonist impressed the butler rather than mistaking him for a ghost. Our heroine is puzzled as to how the heroine remained sane in the situation with Homer. Theo sadly notices to himself that the girl is scared. His powerful hand rests on the girl's head and strokes it, calming her down. Jayana doesn't understand, but her relationship with Theo has reached a new level. She suddenly notices Theo's steel abs and her nose starts bleeding. The main character's dreams come true. She sees Theo's beautiful and toned abs. The heroine grabs Theo by the edges of his robe and throws him onto the bed. She asks him in a mysterious tone not to run away from her anymore. She says that her body shouldn't wait and that 18 plus awaits us. Theo asks her if she feels the same. Jayana looks at Theo and says no. There are 18 plus in the game, but our heroine always skipped these scenes. Besides, all scenes of 18 plus led to a bad ending. Gianna realizes that she will have to do this anyway to get the ending she wants. Unexpectedly, Theo apologizes. He tells her that he didn't mean to touch her without permission. Gianna thinks that the way he puts his hand on his head is too cute. Gianna encourages him, telling him that it's okay to touch each other. They are a couple. Theo tearfully tells her that he was afraid that her silence had made her angry. Gianna tells him that she is not offended by him and will not be offended by the physical contact. Theo timidly asks the girl if he can hug her. Gianna tells him that yes, she doesn't see anything wrong with hugging. Theo hugs the girl tenderly. He presses her tightly to himself. The girl responds to Theo's embrace, hugging him close. Theo looks at Gianna and asks her in a seductive whisper. His question is whether he can get to know her better. His question is whether he can get to know her better. His question is whether he can get to know her better. Gianna brings her lips to Theo's and thinks how good he is. But then she acts like a fool and pushes away the handsome Duke. They were just interrupted by Homer, who asked from behind the door how they were doing. He tells Theo that there are things to take care of, and Theo leaves. Theo approaches Homer, and they discuss politics. Gianna is annoyed. If it weren't for the butler, they would have kissed. Gianna realizes that the kissing scene is still a long way off. Gianna is upset. She and Theo are a couple. What's wrong with an innocent kiss? Theo pulls on his shirt and tells Gianna that he has some unsettled business and will be right back. Gianna is upset. The night has come when the newlyweds must sleep separately. Theo tells a frustrated Gianna that he will try to get things over with quickly. Gianna suddenly realizes something and is ready to get out of bed. Gianna tells Theo what is going on and why he didn't go. Theo hugs Gianna and gives her a gentle kiss on the forehead. Gianna was embarrassed. This was the first time a guy had kissed her, but Theo was already leaving. Gianna is left alone, and she realizes that Theo left in vain. She realizes that Theo has just overcome his hesitation and kissed her on the forehead. She blushes and buries her face deeper into the blanket. She wonders if her dream has come true, and she has just been kissed. She is glad that the game has such a cute and charming character like Theo. We are shown that her squeals wake up even bats. Theo sits in the office and signs the papers that Homer gives him. Theo signs another paper, but his hand stops. All Theo's thoughts are occupied only with Gianna, whom he loves. Theo is so busy thinking about Gianna that he doesn't notice anything. Homer tells him that there is no connection between Gianna and the palace. Homer reassures Theo that he doesn't have to worry about Gianna being a spy. Homer tells Theo that he can trust Gianna. Theo is in thought. Can he trust Gianna now? It cannot be based only on feelings. It is dangerous. We are shown Gianna's feet. She is fast asleep. She dreams that she can eat delicious food, and she falls apart. A maid runs into the room and wishes good morning to Gianna, who is in a bad mood. Gianna notes that Madam sounds good and asks who she is. The girl with pigtails introduces herself as Ellie Megtraj, and she is Gianna's personal maid. Gianna asks to be allowed to sleep, but the maid says that she must wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. The maid cheerfully informs her that it is now 6 o'clock in the morning, and Gianna has a daily routine. Gianna remembers what it was like in her world when the clock struck 6 in the morning. At 6 o'clock in the morning, the students in her world and the students rushed to school and college. Office workers hurried to catch buses that took them to work. Ellie lists what awaits Gianna: a morning walk, a morning shower, and changing into clean clothes. Ellie tells her that after the morning routine comes the daytime routine, and Gianna understands that she will be deprived of her freedom. Ellie asks in surprise why Gianna went to bed, and she replies that she is going to sleep. Ellie is worried about Gianna's condition, and Gianna says that she needs to be woken up later. Gianna locks the door, hoping that no one will disturb her again. Gianna decides to go to dreamland again. Her bed is so soft and comfortable. Gianna dreams of a priest blessing her marriage to Theo. Gianna, in a beautiful wedding dress, tells Theo that their union is blessed forever. She and Theo leave the church to the cries of the townspeople, wishing them a successful union. But suddenly, a door falls in front of Gianna, and she wonders where it came from. Theo comes out of the door, shouting at her, and she wonders what happened. Theo runs up to Gianna and asks her what happened. Gianna finally wakes up and realizes that the door to her room has been knocked down. She looks at the door in surprise, and then looks at Theo. It dawns on Gianna that she has been sleeping very soundly. We are shown the dining room as Theo and Homer enter, with Ellie working hard putting food on plates. Homer is reading some book, and Theo notices that Gianna is missing. Theo asks Ellie where his wife is and why she is not there. Ellie tells him that Gianna is not feeling well and will not be coming. Theo stands at the door to Gianna's room and asks if she is inside. But no matter how much Theo knocks, there is no answer, and he begins to worry. Theo says menacingly that he is coming in since Jayana won't open the door for him. Theo understands that he asked, but received no answer, and he worries about what happened inside. Theo starts screaming and knocking on the door, but Jayana doesn't hear him. The pendant on Theo's chest glows, and he gathers all his magic to break inside. Theo, with a powerful gust of wind, knocks down the door and it opens. Theo runs up to Jayana and shouts at her, but she is fast asleep. Theo asks Jayana worriedly if she is okay. Jayana thinks it's all a dream and can't get over her wedding with Theo. Jayana flops down on the bed and starts to sleep. She doesn't want to wake up. Theo's voice becomes insistent, and Jayana comes to her senses. Theo grabs her hand and asks worriedly if she is okay, why she is not answering, and if she has a fever. Theo tells Jayana that if she feels unwell, they will call a doctor. She wonders why. Jayana turns her gaze to Homer, who watches them silently. Homer explains to her that she didn't answer. She had a breakfast appointment with the Duke, and they had to break down the door. Jayana remembers that Theo is obsessed with the main character, and she calms him down, saying that they walk too much. That's why she wanted to sleep. Theo says he's glad she's not sick, and she smiles sweetly at him. Theo, Homer, and Ellie leave. Theo tells the heroine that he will wait for her. Theo leaves and tells Homer that it's time for them to go, who agrees with him. Jayana asks Ellie what time it is, and she replies that it's 9 o'clock. Jayana realizes that she is a night owl, and she feels sleep-deprived. Ellie tells her that she will help her change her clothes, and Jayana realizes that she will not have a free life. In front of Jayana, there is cut meat, delicious soup, and roast. She can't believe it. In front of her is normal food that appeared in one day. Theo sits down at the table next to her and says that the chef hasn't arrived yet, so Homer has prepared all the food. Homer tells them that he respects both of them, so he tried his best. Homer says he hopes they enjoy the food, and Jayana notes that he is an excellent butler. Jayana happily devours the food prepared by Homer. Homer cooked a juicy steak, tender meat with a buttery flavor. Jayana pounces on the food, regardless of whether it was prepared by a murderer or a ghost. Jayana is wolfing down the juicy food, and Theo is pleased that he pleased her. Theo looks tenderly at Jayana. He is glad that she is happy. Jayana happily reports that she is full and satisfied. Jayana says that a full stomach makes people happy. Homer approaches Jayana and tells her that she has a mountain of books to read. Jayana is shocked. She didn't expect to read so many books. Homer tells her that she will first learn about the history and etiquette of Akaran, learns how to dress in society, and learns how to receive guests. One of the things Jayana hates is studying. Jayana thought that duchesses went to balls every night, and she planned a sweet life with Theo. Jayana is shocked that she, having graduated from university and school, has to study again. Homer finishes her off by telling her that she must read the books in one day. Jayana says she can't read that many books because she's not an artificial intelligence. Homer tells her that Theo read so many books that he wrote an article at the age of 13. Jayana, hearing about Theo, thinks how all this will help her. Jayana tries to sneak away from Homer, but he notices her. Jayana lies to him, saying that she will read all those books in the room. But it doesn't work. Then she says she's thirsty. But Homer tells her that Ellie will bring her some water. Jayana is thinking about how to escape, and Homer wants to clarify something with her. Homer looms over her like a scary snake and tells her that she already has a full schedule for basic training. He also informs Jayana that an exam is being prepared for the subjects she has learned. Jayana believes that Homer is the real devil. Jayana is in a panic. How will she manage to learn so much material? Jayana was exhausted. She had been cramming all those books day and night. She suddenly sighs with relief. The exam is tomorrow. Jayana thinks she'll just sleep for 10 minutes and that's it. Suddenly, Ellie enters her room, bringing her tea, and Jayana doesn't know where to go. Jayana asks Ellie to knock before disturbing her, but she says she knocked and no one answered. Ellie says that Homer gave her permission to come in, but Jayana thinks that there is no need to knock. Theo broke down the door. Jayana tells Ellie not to apologize. There is no door anyway. It dawns on Jayana that Homer has been outside the door the whole time. Ellie happily reports that he is handling Theo's paperwork and awaiting her orders. Jayana jumps out of bed and heads towards the exit of the room. Jayana glances sharply out the door, her eyes wary. Jayana looks out into the deserted corridor, wondering why he isn't there. Suddenly, like a ghost, Homer appears behind her and asks what she wants. Jayana is scared. She screams in horror. Homer scares her. Jayana sits down on the floor and crawls away from the creepy Homer. Homer innocently asks why she was afraid of him. Jayana walks down the hallway and tells Homer that she needs his help. Homer kindly asks how he can help, and Jayana says she forgot, so he extends his hand to her. He sweetly offers to help her get to her room, Jayana thinks the butler looks like her scary mother. Homer returns to her room with her, and she realizes that she cannot study. Jayana realizes that things could end badly. Jaina says that she needs to do some chores around the house, but he tells her that Eli can do everything. She thinks she needs to come up with some other excuses. Suddenly, the girl gets an idea and decides to use it. She tells him that she plans to go into town with Theo. Homer rummages through his notebook and tells Jayana that this was not in his plans. Jaina comes up with the idea that Theo needs a haircut, and Homer is shocked that he wants to go to a beauty salon. She tells Homer that Theo has long hair and it is difficult for him to wash it. When Homer asks if he wants to go with them, he answers no and lets the girl go. Jayana happily bursts into Theo's office like a ray of light. Theo looks up from the paperwork and is surprised. He thought Jayana was with Homer. Jaina is delighted. Theo's version of the bespectacled man is very cute, but she suddenly falls silent as she has spoken her thoughts out loud. Jaina tells Theo that the glasses make him look smart, and Theo feels embarrassed. Jaina is delighted again. His face is very cute now. She leans over the table and asks Theo if he wants to go into town with her. Theo tells her that they were already in town, and rudely tells her that he is busy. She touches his black hair and says that she wants to go out for Theo's sake. Theo grabs Jayana's arm abruptly, causing her pain. He rudely tells the girl that he doesn't want to get a haircut. Jaina looks at his face and asks why. Theo tells her that he doesn't let anyone touch him, and she replies that she won't let anyone else touch him. Theo says he doesn't want his face to be seen, and Jayana protests. He gloomily answers the girl that he won't go anywhere today. Jayana thinks he would look much cooler with short hair, and thinks there is another way. She believes that Theo was subjected to terrible attacks since childhood. Because of the assassination attempts, he is wary of sharp objects. But according to Jayana, long hair suits him much less than short hair. She thinks there must be some other way. Jayana looks at the system and the choices that are being offered. However, Jayana doesn't like any of the choices. They are all hopeless. She decides that if he has psychological trauma, then she needs to think for herself. Suddenly, a new idea occurs to Jayana. She calls out to Theo, and he raises his head from his papers. She takes Theo's hands and asks him how about her. She offers Theo to cut his hair herself, instead of taking him into town. Theo shyly tells her that he doesn't know, as it's a bad idea for him. We are transported into Theo's past to a boring library. A boy in a red suit scolds Theo. The teacher tells Theo that if he makes a mistake, he will be spanked on the cheek. The teacher tells Theo that he doesn't understand how he hasn't been thrown out of the palace yet. Then, Teacher Theo's brown gaze becomes hard. He slowly creeps up behind Theo as he sits. The teacher takes a pair of scissors out of his pocket and wants to kill Theo with them, saying that the country doesn't need such boring people. He swings at Theo, and a sharp pain from the blades pierces him. Theo's shoulder is oozing scarlet blood, and he tries to stop it. The teacher tells him that he wants to cleanse this world of people like Theo. He slowly approaches him, flashing the scissors in his hand, and maniacally saying that Theo wants to find peace. Theo looks in horror at the crazy teacher and the scissors in his hand. Theo still has nightmares about the warning sound of scissors. Jayana jumps around him with scissors and merrily sings about welcome to Jayana's beauty salon. Theo cowers in fear and tells her that he is not ready yet. Jayana reassures him by saying that she will give him a hairstyle that will suit him perfectly. Theo fearfully tells her that she is scaring him, and she reassures him. She gently tells Theo not to be afraid, and that everything will be okay. Theo agrees, and Jayana asks him to leave everything to her. Theo closes his eyes tightly. He is as afraid as I am of what Jayana will do to him. Jayana, on the contrary, is happy. She thinks that she can improve Theo's beauty. A terrible sadist. Jayana recalls cutting her own bangs to save money on a haircut. She decides to proceed, the scissors sparkling in her hand. Poor Theo closes his eyes even tighter, his injury taking its toll. Theo remembers with horror the sound that haunted him in his nightmares. Theo is once again overcome by thoughts that Jayana is a spy for the royal family, and that she will finish him off. Jayana then begins cutting Theo's hair, starting with his bangs. Theo is resigned to the fact that Jayana will not give up so easily. He believes that he cannot allow her to see himself in a miserable light. His strong hand grips the chair with incredible force. Jayana realizes that Theo has a severe injury from the scissors. While Theo sits in horror, she decides to tell him about her past. Jayana tells him that she decided to cut her bangs herself, and that was her biggest mistake. For some time now, Jayana has been wearing a hat in public. But sooner or later, what is hidden becomes apparent. The wind blew her hat away, and everyone was shocked by her hairstyle. Theo tells her that how could anyone dare to laugh at the Duchess of Akurin? He will hold them accountable. Theo menacingly says that if anyone dares to laugh at her, he will not hold back. Jayana sees that after her story, Theo stopped shaking. His dark curls fall to the floor. Jayana thinks that they will deal with his injury together. After a while, she puts the scissors aside. Jayana realizes with horror that she has overdone it. Theo asks Jayana if she's finished, and she's scared. Looking at Theo, you might think he's a soldier from a Korean war drama. Jaina realizes with horror that she has overdone it. Jayana realizes that Theo now resembles the Korean soldier she will be waiting for after the war. Jayana is horrified. She turned the handsome man into a conscript soldier with a shaved head. Theo's gentle voice reminds Jayana of his presence. Jayana wants to flee the crime scene, and Theo says the haircut is too short. Jayana tries to justify herself by saying that this haircut suits him. She runs out of the room screaming wildly. Theo is surprised. Jayana runs in panic. She is afraid of Theo's anger. That's right, be afraid. Jayana runs, panicking as she realizes that Theo's attraction has disappeared. With scissors in the background, Theo menacingly tells Jayana that he has trusted her. Looking in the mirror, Theo tells her that he is not satisfied with the result. Theo looks menacingly at Jayana. His gaze does not bode well. Jayana asks Theo in a timid voice to listen to her. Theo draws his sword and tells her that excuses are useless. He threateningly tells the girl that she will atone for her guilt with her death. Jayana is horrified and begs him to just talk about what happened. Jayana wakes up in horror, having dreamed that she was dying. It turns out that the girl fell asleep at the table behind a mountain of textbooks. She comes to her senses. Jayana thinks that the girl in whose body she is has the gift of foresight. She realizes with horror that she fell asleep in Theo's room. Jayana thinks a false compliment about Theo's haircut will save her life. Then, she considers the option of apologizing to the floor. Jayana admits that her relationship with him has been on the rocks for a long time. A knock on the door distracts her, and she feels uneasy about it. Theo timidly asks if he can come into her room. Theo walks into the room, his gray eyes blazing, making Jayana feel uneasy. Jayana sees an angry Theo getting closer and closer to her and wonders what to tell her. Theo reaches out his hand to her, his voice ominous. Jaina begins to pray to the love deity to be reborn as a rich woman in her next life. But Theo's soft hand gently rests on her head and touches her hair. Theo asks her worriedly what happened, why she ran away suddenly. Jayana timidly asks Theo if he is angry with her. He doesn't understand her when Jayana asks about her hairstyle. He says yes. Jayana is surprised. Won't Theo be angry with her for her new hairstyle? Theo tells her that he doesn't intend to be angry, since this hairstyle was done by Jayana. Jayana is shocked. She didn't expect this from Theo, and she blushes. Theo gently takes her hands in his and tells her that, for the first time, he wasn't afraid of scissors. He asks Jayana to cut his hair all the time, and she thinks it sounds like a marriage proposal. A small smile lights up Jayana's face, and she walks over to Theo. She tenderly tells him that it is an honor for her. Theo is happy that Jayana will practice her haircuts more and more each time. He takes her hands and tells her that he will always be with her. A beautiful white stone castle with high towers rises against the blue sky. Jayana, wearing a new pink frilly dress, approaches Theo. Theo's hair has grown out, and he is handsome again. In a white uniform, he meets Jayana. Jayana notes that the morning is indeed good. All thanks to the hair growth potion brought by Homer, an advertisement for Pantene shampoo. Jayana, Theo, and Homer sat down to a delicious lunch of lamb shashlik and soup. Jayana is suddenly asked how she is doing with her studies, and she hesitates. She says everyone has their own criteria for success, but she puts in a lot of effort. She feels awkward in front of Theo because she is a complete zero in her studies. She feels awkward in front of Theo because she is a complete zero in her studies. Just as Jayana relaxed, a large stack of books appeared in front of her. The sadistic Homer tells her that she must know all these books. Homer tells her that he will come in the evening and check her work. Jayana is horrified. There are 4 stacks of books in front of her. She overturns the table in rage. How will she learn so many books? She says she has endured a huge number of books, but now wants to live a normal life. He wakes up at 7 in the morning and goes for a walk in the garden. Tea with Theo instead of the usual luxurious life. And then, just cramming and boring studying, which she got tired of. Jayana has a young body and soul that are wearing out faster and faster. Seriously, it's like she lives in a perpetual 11th grader exam. Jayana hates living like this. It's like she's living in a labor camp. Jayana believes that if there are no rules, she will run away from the castle. Jayana looks at the door. She realizes that Homer is behind the door, and Theo and Ellie are in cahoots. After much effort, Jayana manages to tie a rope from clothes and rags. Jayana decides to make a daring escape by throwing the rope out the window. She joyfully shouts that a dissolute and free life awaits her. She throws the rope out of the window and starts climbing down it. Her light shoes slide down the rope, down and down. Jayana descends on a rope. Her escape is considered successful. Jaina thinks she's a genius for being able to escape so easily. But just when she thinks she's committed the perfect crime, Ellie spots her. Ellie asks in surprise what she is doing here. Jayana is horrified. She doesn't know what to think. Thoughts don't come into her head. Ellie shouts at her that it is dangerous to hang like this and asks her to come back. But suddenly, the wind blows and the rope begins to swing dangerously. Jayana's feet slip and she falls off the rope. She falls from a great height straight into the bushes and gets stuck. Jayana is surprised. She turns out to be alive, but almost died. Jayana shakes off leaves while the maid screams throughout the castle about her. Jayana realizes that things are bad because Ellie gave her away. She runs away from the place of her failed escape. Crows caw and fly over the dark depths of the forest. Jayana's light heels hit the ground as she runs out of the forest. Jayana stops abruptly, wondering how long she had been running at that speed. Jayana thinks what she just did. Why is she running? The main character clearly didn't intend to do anything like that. Her escape failed. Jayane imagines everyone laughing at her. Jayana becomes despondent. She realizes that she has done something stupid. She realizes with horror that Theo has become very nice lately. Jayana realizes that she did something stupid and ran away in vain. Jayana thinks she did the right thing by running away. She screams furiously that there are other things to do besides studying. Suddenly, it dawns on Jayana's stupid head what she has done. Now she's wondering where she ended up. The central part of the forest, where Theo's castle is located, is the most dangerous part of Tyronia. This forest is full of all sorts of horrors, in particular monsters. It is inhabited by creatures like demons, who are not averse to feasting on human flesh. Jayana realizes that she's in the wrong place. Suddenly, Jayana hears a sound and she turns around. There is some kind of ripple going through the bushes, and this scares Jayana. She thinks there is a monster there and regrets not taking her sword with her. Jayana is horrified. She remembers there were bears in the game. She swings the branch like a sword and screams that Theo will crush the monster into dust. Suddenly, Jayana hears a sound like a stuffed animal being dried. Jayana thinks the sound is coming from the bushes, and she looks at them. Jayana thinks she has been tricked and hears a terrible sound. Jayana thinks she has been tricked and hears a terrible sound. Jayana looks at the bushes. She can't help but make a cute sound. Someone's plush and fluffy paw comes out to meet her. Jayana's eyes widen, and she looks at the creature. The creature looks like a cat, and it makes strange sounds. The creature reminded her of the cat she had saved from the car. Jayana closes her eyes and winces against the thick wind. In front of her is a creature that looks like a lion, a cat, and a squirrel. Jayana believes that the sound the creature makes is similar to meowing. Jayana kneels down and asks the creature why it is alone. The creature suddenly bristles and begins to growl at her. Jayana gently tells the creature that it is no longer alone. The creature puffs itself up and does not dare to come close to her. Jayana reaches out her cute little hand to the creature and sniffs it. Jayana is delighted. It first sniffed her and then licked her. But suddenly, black magic wraps itself around Jayana's hand. Black magic surrounds Jayana like a chokehold. She is scared. What is it? Why is it wrapped around her? Most wizards use mana that floats in the air. But there are also those who use magic, allowing it to penetrate their bodies. Theo manages to use magic both ways. Theo learned to channel magic into the sword, making him a swordmaster. Jayana doesn't know how to use magic, so Theo protects her. Jayana looks at the black magic and wonders where it comes from. Black magic creeps up on the creature and engulfs it. The creature begins to scream and looks at Jayana with horror. Jayana looks at the creature and decides to help it. She pets the creature, which happily offers its face. Jayana's heart is almost jumping out of her chest from the thrill. Jayana thinks that the creature has already chosen her as its master. Jayana happily squeezes the creature's fluffy cheeks. Suddenly, she realizes that this cannot be done. Jayana believes that she should stay away from the creature, but the cute monster happily approaches her and purrs. Jayana thinks that many people have lions and tigers, so why can't she train a monster? Jayana cheerfully asks the animal, and it is apparently happy to see her. Theo suddenly ends up dealing with a pile of documents in front of him. Ellie bursts into his chambers. She is scared and screams for him to listen to her. Theo is surprised by her presence and asks what happened. Theo receives terrible news. Jayana has fallen from the 3rd floor. Theo asks Ellie in horror where she is now, and she tells him that she is in the forest. Theo asks where exactly Jayana is and heads away. Homer announces that he has finished fixing the door, but Theo does not listen to him. Ellie says it looks like Jayana is lost somewhere in the woods. Ellie panics and asks a frightened Theo what they will do now. Theo tells her that they need to tell Homer first, and then go look for Jayana. Theo, with a scary face, tells her to move. Ellie is scared, but she decides not to argue with the master and goes to look for her. His loud voice, calling Jayao, echoes throughout the dark forest. Theo calls desperately for Jayana. He believes that she is alive. Theo goes deeper into the forest, walking among the gloomy trees. Theo is confused as to why he can't find Jayana. Theo screams, but all that comes out in response is cute rabbits. Theo is unhappy. He can't find Jayana. Theo uses magic to find Jayana and is furious. Theo believed that he would always be with Jayana and did not understand why she ran away. He sternly decides that he will not let Jayana go just like that and will bring her back. He says he can't live a day without Jayana. Jayana finds herself close to Theo and timidly emerges from behind the trees. Jayana finds herself near the castle and realizes that this place is tuned into the girl's brain. She cheerfully asks the creature if she likes her castle. The creature snores peacefully in her arms and does not hear her. Jayana thinks it's time for them to go to their room and sleep. The creature lies down in the crib and continues to snore cutely. Jayana looks at the monster and thinks about what she should do and how to explain everything to Theo. Jayana looks out the window and something catches her eye. Theo asks in surprise if Jayana is back. Jayana asks what's wrong in surprise and she looks at them. Theo says menacingly that he will now get up and go to her. Jayana has never seen Theo like this, so she is scared. Jayana is scared. She has never seen Theo so scary. She understands that she will definitely get into trouble if she stays. Jayana hides the doll under the table and asks to sit quietly under the table. But the door suddenly breaks and comes off its hinges, leaving Jayana horrified. Jayana looks at the repaired door and says that she will not forget her new victim. An angry Theo appears on the threshold and enters the room. He sternly tells Jayana that they need to talk urgently. He yells menacingly at Jayana about what she was thinking about. Jayana gently tries to calm Theo down, but he doesn't listen to her. He sternly tells Jayana how she can ask him to calm down. He looks at Jayana and tells her why he needs to calm down. His hand grips Jayana's hand tightly, and he asks why she ran away. Theo rudely asks Jayana if she has decided to run away. Theo tells her that from this day on, she will not be able to escape from the castle. Jayana doesn't understand why Theo is so angry with her. Homer intervenes, asking Theo to calm down immediately and not scare his wife. Jayana says that Theo is right, and she understands that it is her own fault. Theo asks her for forgiveness and says that he didn't mean to scare her. But suddenly, the monster makes its presence known by starting to squeak. Jayana is in a panic. Now is not the time for the creature to make itself known. Theo says gloomily that it looks like there is someone nearby. Jayana tries to stop Theo, but he says there is something dangerous here. Jayana looks at the animal pleadingly and asks it not to show itself. But a funny little monster rolls out from under the table right at Theo's feet. He jumps out and shakes his fluffy tail, stretching like a cat. Jayana reproachfully tells him that she warned him to keep quiet. Theo mercilessly snatches the animal and pulls it towards him. It is frightened. Theo asks menacingly how it happened that this dangerous monster got into their castle. Jayana abruptly snatches it from Theo's hands and screams that he is hurting him. Theo looks at her darkly, and his gaze does not bode well. They begin to argue. Theo insists that the animal be returned to him. He sternly tells Jayana that the monster is not cute, and he is a monster. Jayana sharply objects that the monster is still a baby, and he is crying. Homer stands up for Jayana and tells Theo that he is still a baby, and he will teach him everything. Theo objects. Will the monster really remain cute when he grows up? Jayana tries to object. She doesn't understand what this cutie did. She wonders what to do with the monster in her arms. She says that she is against what he does with the monster. Jayana sadly notes that she is now a prisoner of the castle. She believes that all they do is force her to study. She expresses her opinion that she has no freedom. She says Theo treats her like a prisoner and not like a wife. Theo objects to her that she is not an animal, but this is what is required of the Duchess. Theo tries to convince Jayana that the monster might attack her when it grows up. Jayana turns away abruptly and says she doesn't want to see Theo. He turns away from Jayana and walks out of the room. Theo leaves the room. Jayana is depressed and upset by their fight. Homer and Theo walk through dark corridors, and Homer wonders what to do with the animal. Theo doesn't hear him. He thinks this is the first time Jayana has argued with him. Theo is very upset. He didn't mean to hurt Jayana. Theo tells Homer to prepare the carriage for the trip to the city. Jayana sits in the room, feeling bad about the fight she had with Theo. He picks up the monster and says that everything is for his protection. Jayana hugs the monster and says that she won't let anyone hurt him. She decides to name the monster Watami, which translates as cotton candy. However, the girl understands that Theo was right after all. The girl apologizes and tells the monster that she is unlikely to be with him. The girl apologizes and tells the monster that she is unlikely to be with him, but she believes that at least today they will be safe in the castle. We are shown a city street that appears to be busy. Theo walks through the city, his gloomy silhouette frightening and attracting glances. One of the townspeople sees Theo and greets him fearfully. He tells Theo that he can choose whatever he wants to choose. The shop owner tells Theo that they have the rarest goods. Theo takes the iron and massive chain in his hands and squeezes it tightly. He proudly declares that the chain is what he was looking for. Jayana sits on the bed in her room. The day has flown by. Jayana thinks Theo is still angry with her. She hasn't heard from him. Ellie tells her that she hasn't seen Mr. Theo for a long time. Ellie tells Jayana that Theo didn't say where he was going. Jayana says she would like to start the game over. Evening is coming, but Theo is still not there. It's already sunset. Jayana sits in her tower with Watami and waits for Theo. She asks Watami if he had also waited that long. Jayana is confused about how long Theo has been gone, and she is very worried. Jayana sees that the carriage with Theo has arrived. Homer is the driver. She runs up to the carriage and says she's glad to see Theo. She approaches the driver and happily wants to meet him. Theo appears wearing a black hood, resembling an assassin, and carrying a chain in his hands. In his hand is a strong and heavy chain, which is used to wrap dogs. Jayana backs away and says they need to talk, but Theo isn't listening. Theo asks in surprise if she doesn't want to talk to him anymore. Jayana quickly apologizes, but Theo doesn't seem to hear her. Theo tells her that he is unable to understand her feelings. Theo tells her that he is unable to understand her feelings. Theo takes out the chain and says not to worry, he bought the chain. Jayana looks at the chain and realizes that she is not ready for such a relationship. Theo tells her that it will be uncomfortable at first, but she will get used to it. Theo reaches out his hand to the animal, and Jayana becomes scared. Jayana closes her eyes, realizing that she has failed to stop Theo. But then the chain ends up on Watama's neck, who is surprised. Theo bends down and looks at the chain. He thinks it's small. Theo hands the chain to Jayana and says that it is a leash for Watami. Theo, with a scientific air, says that the collar is for monsters and that he won't be able to use much power. Jayana is shocked. It turns out Theo left to buy a collar. Theo tells her that he needed to leave to cool off a bit. Jayana realizes that Theo left because he didn't want to see her. Jayana collapsed to the floor in relief, and Theo was surprised. Jayana believes that she was wrong to be afraid that Theo had left her. Theo quickly tells her that the chain is a compromise. He doesn't want to quarrel with her. Jayana says she was very worried that Theo wouldn't come back. Jayana tells Theo that she was very worried about their fight and didn't think about the collar. Theo is surprised. He didn't expect Jayana to be so worried. His hand gently rests on the girl's cheek, and she becomes worried. He hugs Jayana and tells her that he will always be there. Jayana cries, her true feelings for Theo beginning to show. She throws herself into Theo's arms and begins to cry. Later, her face resembled a fat lump. She cried a lot. She sharply tells Theo that it's all because he was gone for a long time. She says she was worried because Theo was gone for a long time. Theo places his hand on her knee and tells her he is ashamed of himself for leaving her alone. He takes her hand and says that he asks the girl for only one thing. Theo looks at the girl and asks her in a pleading tone not to leave him. Jayana says she didn't mean to run away, and Theo is glad about that. She tells Theo that she would never leave him and strokes his face. She says that she would never hate someone who treats her like that. Theo gently tells her that he's glad she said that. There is a pause between them and romantic music plays. Their faces slowly move closer to each other. Theo makes the first move and kisses the girl with a gentle kiss. Jayana cups her face in her hands and kisses him back. Their lips merge in a passionate kiss. They hug each other. Jayana realizes that she has fallen head over heels in love with Theo. Jayana hugs Theo. She wants more than just a kiss. She can no longer imagine life without Theo. Jayana sits on the couch with Watame and looks at Theo, who is sitting opposite. Theo bends his fingers and says that he has 3 conditions, and he will leave the monster here. The first condition is to never remove Watame's collar. The second condition is to take one of the servants when walking with Watame. The third condition for Jayana is not to jump out of the window. Jayana is very surprised by what happened to Theo. She realizes that the third point has nothing to do with Watame. Theo asks her if she agrees to his terms. The chain was too heavy, so it was replaced with a rope. Jayana greets the maids, who greet her in return. Jayana asks Ellie why she's so happy, and she says she's going to tell her some awesome news. Ellie tells her that the reconstruction of the Winter Castle is almost complete. Ellie tells her that the reconstruction of the winter castle is almost complete. Ellie tells her that the reconstruction of the winter castle is almost complete. Ellie says she is grateful to Jayana. It is her merit. Jayana is happy. Thanks to her, the castle no longer resembles a prison. Jayana walks through the castle, appreciating its new design. She goes into the library, and Homer asks her what book she is looking for. Jayana happily tells him that the book she was reading the other day. Homer hands it to her, a thick little volume, and Jayana is happy. Homer takes the stack of books and leaves, and Jayana continues studying. Ever since Jayana ran away, Homer has stopped forcing her to study. Since that day, Jayana has been lying in bed a lot. That's what I call life. But after a few days, Jayana got tired of such a boring life. After all, Jayana didn't have a smartphone or a phone. She decided that she should read a little, and she reads. Some books were boring, and some made her smile. Jayana finished reading the books she was given. Jayana is reading, and then Ellie comes in and disturbs her. She informs Jayana that the girl has a visitor. In the corridor, a woman with her hair in a bun is waiting for the girl. She says she is glad to meet the girl. The elegant woman's name is Angeli, and she will be in charge of her costumes. She says that they didn't tell her anything about Angeli. Angeli claps her hands and tells her to bring clothes. The maids carry all the dresses, the yellow dress, the pink one, and the blue and green one. She and her servants are delighted with such an abundance of elegant dresses. The woman points to the outfits and asks which one she likes. A real fashion sentence. Jayana thinks she's seen all these outfits somewhere. Jayana suddenly realizes that she has seen all these clothes in fashion boutiques around the city. The girl asks if she saw Angeli in the city, and she is glad that the lady remembers her. After they had a fight, Theo came to Angeli and ordered a bunch of outfits. Angeli says she is happy about this visit, but the girl is in shock. She gives Watama to Ellie to support the animal. Evening comes, and a quiet sunset illuminates Tyronia. The girl sneaks between the shadows of the trees towards Theo. Theo gets half naked and practices fencing. His hands grip the hilt of the sword tightly, and he cuts the air with it. One swing of Theo is enough to cut down trees. Sweat runs down Theo's strong, muscular body. Jayana awkwardly lingers her gaze on Theo. Theo asks Jayana what's wrong, and we are shown his powerful abs and pumped-up muscles. She blushes because she lost him for a short time. Theo is surprised when the girl begins to wonder why he conspired with Angeli behind her back. The girl begins to remember how she told Theo that she liked the clothes from the store. It turns out that Theo remembered this moment and decided to please the girl. The girl asks Theo how he could agree to this. Theo firmly tells her that clothes are the first indicator of aristocrats. She asks how Theo would take her joke if she became empress. Theo thinks for a very long time, and this worries Jayana. Jayana imagines herself wearing a robe and a crown on her head. Theo says that one day he would agree for her to become empress. Theo has a strange grin, and it worries Jayana. The girl doesn't understand what's funny about what she said, and decides that she needs to joke less in front of Theo.